this will be of very, very limited interest. I knew that before I even started filming today. This is going to be very, very limited interest, but any old kind of any old UK old school heads or people interested in the history of graph or anything like that will be interested in this sort of stuff. Because in the old days, we used to have these things. And this is the only one I got left because a lot of them didn't survive. This is a fanzine. And it's not specifically a graph fanzine. I mean, I know we have zines nowadays and all that sort of stuff. But this was specifically back in the day. Look at that lovely font there. That's by Craze. I'll go into this in a minute. Back in the day, this was like what you had. You know, this was like the best you got. Let's get into it because you're going to find this. Those of you who haven't seen this sort of stuff before, you're going to find it hilarious, probably, that we ever did this. But I want to just Lobster. So this is Lobster Telephone. This is a fanzine that came out of Nottingham, which is up in the East Midlands. And this was done by a guy called Craze. He's a Nottingham artist. He was massive at the time. He was so, I mean, he is so good now. He's still active. Instagram, Craze, ILC. Really brilliant artist. But at the time, he was like the cutting edge. And this was just a gorgeous, this is still a gorgeous font now, I think. 10p. Wow. Wow. Okay, let's get into it. So this is, bear in mind that we didn't have much text, bits, bobs, whatever. I don't know what this is. Little adverts, Rocking Reggae Festival, somewhere, this, all this. Now we're into it. Fight crime, not art. I want to lift this up a little bit so you can see it. Look at this. Beautiful kind of super old school UK, black and white. Sorry, I'm off the camera. Black and white outlines and sketches that we were doing back then. Look at that. It's just amazing, right? Slice of history. And look at this. So this is what we were getting. It cracks me up now. But this was so inspiring at the time. It was so inspiring to see we control the city. Oh, brilliant. I mean, you can see sort of badly photocopied. You can't see the detail. I've since seen these pieces. It took me like 30 odd years to see these pieces in colour. When the internet started rolling and Facebook and all that, and we started to see these pieces that we've seen like this in this kind of state in colour, and it was like, oh my god, that's what they look like. But this was enough back then. This was what we were dining out on. Eyes of Pain, Living in a World That's Insane. Grace again. I mean, look at that. I can't even tell. What is that even? I can't even tell. But it was so exciting to get one of these that it was such a buzz, because we didn't have any graph mags, and we had the book Subway Art and Spray Can Art, and that was it. That was all of it. And then we had fanzines, and there were loads of guys doing zines around the country. I had a whole load, but it was all just photocopy bits of paper like this one. This only survived because it was at my mum's for years. The rest are long gone. Look at that. That is still one of my favourite graph sketches of all time. That was done in 1988. I didn't say the year, did I? This is 88. 88. This is 1988. Look at that beautiful style. These gorgeous characters. Love his hand style as well. His hand style down the bottom there. Grace. Fantastic. More kind of, somehow we got stuff from this. We got the essence of what this was, and there was something about the homemade quality of it that was very special as well. There was something about graph, because graph wasn't mainstream. It was counterculture. It was subculture. It was proper subculture in those days. It was underground. You couldn't. There weren't many legal spots. You had to go out at night and do it, and you had to operate on the other side of the law. And everything you see in here is, nearly everything is illegal. And 1988, there you go. And it was the sort of do-it-yourself attitude. It was a bit punky, actually. For those of you who know about punk, punk sort of kicked off in '76 in the UK, and it was very. I'm just too young to have got into all that. I remember seeing the punks when I was a kid, but I was just too young for it. Sex Pistols and all that business, and it was very do-it-yourself. Look at that. I mean, you can't make out the font or the characters properly, but you could just sort of see them. It was enough just to give us a bit of a buzz, and these characters there and all that. But it was that sort of do-it-yourself thing. Another great sort of black and white, black booky piece there. There's this great big, I mean, it's still a thing now, this great big argument, which is graffiti really art, or is it vandalism? And it's such an old argument now. It still gets wheeled out every so often when the media get hold of graffiti in any kind of way, and you think, oh, come on, guys, we've been asking that question for decades now. It's done, it's over. I think that's it, actually. I think it's just bits of stuff, yeah. So that was all the graph stuff. But yeah, a bit of a sort of window into a time which is long gone now, from 1988. Don't know if I doubt very much whether these people still do it. I mean, what's that? What is that? 34 years ago. Yeah, I'm very much doubting they're still putting this mag out. Maybe they're doing something else, I don't know. But yeah, I really miss this time, to be honest with you. I really miss all this, the do-it-yourself thing. We used to customise our own clothing. We used to do our own airbrush t-shirts and do designs on our clothes, like they did back in. We were inspired by the early New York writers who did all that as well, and put out zines and had our own little movements, and it was all underground. It was all do it yourself, and we all used to write to each other and send each other photos. And I know there's a couple of guys who watch these videos, and that's what we were doing back then, sending each other's photos and sketches, loads of photocopies of our old black book work and stuff like that, or well, our new black book work at the time. And it was very, very exciting. It was always so exciting to get something for the post, and you'd always know because it would arrive and it would have an amazing sort of hand-styled font, the name and address. Your name and address would be done in a great font. You'd be like, this has come from a writer, fantastic. And you'd see what it was, and somebody sent you like, a bit of a German fanzine and a few photocopies of sketches and a couple of photos or whatever, and it was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. And so many of us, because we live very chaotic lives, we don't have any of that stuff anymore. Like I say, this is like a bit of a treasure for me, because the rest of it most of it is gone, and it's a shame, because it makes such an amazing archive now. Some guys have got stuff, but I guess you've got to sort of curate it and go through it and actually get a video done of it and collect it. I talked to Shock One. He says he's got all his old stuff, all of it. I said, mate, God, there must be. He said there's tons of it, tons and tons, and he doesn't have time, because Shock is out on the wall all the time. He's constantly going places and painting, doing commissions work, in gallery stuff, doing his prints, all that sort of stuff. So he's got no time to curate it. So it doesn't get curated, and we never get to see it. And whether we'll ever get to see it again, I don't know. Yeah, we've seen a lot of his stuff, but we haven't seen all of it. There's loads of his work that we haven't seen from back then. And he's just one example. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there. Lobster Telephone. I mean, what a great name as well, right? Lobster Telephone. Old UK fanzine from 1988.